What is the best card of June? All right, so cards of June that you need to know. Gilgamesh, Athena, Cersei, Makari, and Phaistos, right? Gilgamesh is the season pass. 5/7. They love that stat line. On reveal, +1 power for each of your other cards in play with increased power. This is going to be busted. This is going to be busted. I can't expect them to release this at 5/7. I can't. They can't. Because increased power can be added power via something like Ironheart or Silver Surfer. That's increased power. But at the same time, ongoing is also increased power. So both of these qualify, yet alone locations give increased power. Like, this is mind-blowing to me as a card. At 5/7, if this releases as is, I can say confidently, this will be better than Blink. You will see this as a big, giant piece of power, everything. In so many Odin decks, getting that to on reveal twice, like Gilgamesh is going to be busted at 5/7. In my opinion, I think that given the amount of power that can be added and the average stat line needs to be 5/9, if you're looking at Gamora as at max of 5/12, I think this needs to be like, no joke, 5/5. I'd adjust this to 5/5. Because it's going to be too easy to get this over 9 power, yet alone repeatedly. Gilgamesh going down on 5 on top of a Wong. I mean, this is going to be a crazy, stupid, good card. Just plain and simple. It's going to be a crazy, stupid, good card. What's nice is that it's an option card at that 5 cost. Like, if you need your 5 cost to be set up, that's one thing. Like, you're setting up for a turn 6. But if you're setting this up in the sense of like, this is your big power play, this is your lockdown, this is your lane securing play on turn 5, this is going to be busted. This might be the best one yet. Might be. It's a really good idea. You know, because Blink upgrades that 4 cost into a random card from your deck that's of higher cost, so you have to deck build around it. This is locations benefit you and 4 rounds of cards before it benefit you, and you don't want to ramp this out. You want this to come out later. Like, this is why it's a good card, because it's a higher cost card that doesn't need to be accelerated. It wants to come down turn 5 and even turn 6 or 7. This is a very good card. I am excited for this season pass. Be ready to see it everywhere, just like we see Blink. The first of these Series 5 cards is Athena. Releases at the same time as Gilgamesh with the season pass. 2/1 after each turn, +3 power if you played exactly 2 cards. I think that this will be surprisingly good. Because the thing with this card is that it's not on reveal and it's not ongoing. It's a static effect. It's one that's in the game, on the board, nonstop. So this is a card that wants that pattern. It wants that rhythm. And this is going to synergize with our brand new Sasquatch, because it will regularly have Sasquatch at 410, which is great. And getting this to add +3 power twice. Athena Thanos, hello? Like, this is a 2/7. Yet alone could go even higher. This is going to be a very good card. This will be good in Ravona decks because Ravona decks very often have acceleration, and this is going to be a 1/1. Therefore, get it twice, it's a 1/7. It's a higher threshold ceiling than Ebony Maw, even. Because you could play down Ravona on 2, Thena plus Thing, a thing on turn 3, and have Thena flip first. Boom, she's immediately a 2/4 on turn 3. And then you have 3 more turns with reduced cost cards to get multiple out. Thena's going to be a very good card with a very high point ceiling. And I think will fit organically into more decks than people realize. This isn't your monkey deck, right? This isn't getting as many cards out on turn 6. This is a slow burn, right? This is a card that progressively gets better and better and better. You want this down on turn 2, which is great because you also need more 2-cost cards that synergize well by being effective earlier to be put out versus other 2-cost cards that are textile, like Shadow King, for example. You want cards that you can play down and leave alone and let them do their thing. Very similar to Angela, exactly. You want it on curve. Thena is a card you want on curve, so you can do the thing. But at the same time, this card doesn't synergize with very specific decks that are very meta right now, right? This doesn't synergize with Hela, which is 1 cost, 1 card per thing. This doesn't synergize with Bounce because Bounce, you want to put down 3, 4, 5, whatever it is cards, right? This is a very good card for that. I'm a very big fan of it. I think this is going to be a pretty damn good card. Cersei, 5/7. Again, 5/7. It's their new favorite stat line with then other things that happen, right? On reveal, transform your other cards here into random cards that cost 1 more, if able, right? So if it's death, it's not going to do anything. If it's a 6-cost card, it's not going to do anything because it can't transform into death. That's 2 more, right? So this, if I look at it at face value, this is like Tarnax Plus. Tarnax Plus. Upon release of this card, it will be memey, in my opinion. This will be a memey card. It has a higher threshold, right? So when it happens in this opening week, this card is going to be absolute crap. That's gonna be absolute crap. But in the future, when Arishem does come out, as you're talking about in the chat, like in the future, it could be, keyword, could be better. Because remember with Arishem, right? It's a 7/7. It would transform your 6-cost card into an Arishem whose effect will not happen. His effect will not happen. He will just be a 7/7 because his effect only happens at the start of the game, which means you will not get the +1 max energy. You will not get the 12 random cards in your deck. So when you do build in the future with Cersei, your 6-cost cards that you ramped out early via wave would only have to be small 6-cost cards because you want it to be a power increase. So it's not as good as you think. It will be better, but this, in my opinion, is the skip most likely of the month. In my opinion, this is most likely the skip of the month. Makari. 3/3, after the turn, runs from your hand to a random location, if possible. Just throws itself on the battlefield. It just runs. It just leaves your hand and goes wherever the hell you want. Makari is going to be a good card for a couple of reasons. Number one, this is a better version of M'Baku. This is the ability that a lot of people have wanted on M'Baku, which is that at the end of the game, if it's still in your hand, it leaps also to the battlefield, right? but it has to do it at a very specific time. Therefore, it's not as good. This runs from your hand. You don't have to worry about this card. You draw this card and it's a dead draw because you don't have to play it. It just goes somewhere. Unlike M'Baku, there's a chance that it stays away from Bar with No Name. But the thing that I like about it is that it can land in locations that help you, right? This can run to Death's Domain. This can run to Luke Cage. You know, this, Luke Cage, or Luke's Bar, right? This can run to all of those very specific locations that look for play mechanics to be a problem. This is a good card because you never have to play it. It will just automatically go down, and it's location dependent on if it's a good, bad, or indifferent thing. It's just a card in your hand. So this is kind of like America Chavez, in my opinion. It's not a deck thinner. It's just to guarantee this is what's going to happen. So you build a different type of deck, a less consistent deck with that in mind. Helkin, welcome on in, good sir. How you doing today? For those who do not know, by the way, this whole section, I'm going to put this up on YouTube because this is worth talking about, right? If these cards release in this current state. I like this a lot. I think that this is going to be a good card for Cerebro 3, of course, because if it releases at 3/3, Cerebro 3 wants more cards on the field. Okay? Here's a free one for you. It's even better than potentially Sentinel, right? It's random in that aspect. And I'm big fan of it. Big fan of it. Big fan of it. I think this will be an overall good card for your collection because once we start messing with it, we'll come to realize that it's very similar to how you would think about America Chavez, where your deck is now an 11 card deck. And by the way, this thing does its own thing. Yet it's different than Quicksilver or Domino because it's affecting your draw and the timing of your draw, therefore changing your opportunity chances throughout the entire match. This, whenever it happens, it could be on open and it could also be at the final turn of the game. Whenever it happens, it happens. It's just 3 power going down. But it's after the turn. So combo decks will hate it, but stat decks will love it. I think this is also going to be a relatively good card. Last up of the month is Fastos, okay? 3/3, on reveal, give each card in your deck either -1 cost or +2 power. So this is basically taking your deck and giving you lots of randomness. But depending on the type of deck, I'm excited. I'm excited for the card. Very much, but it's not Pixie on steroids. Because it's not mixing up costs. It's just saying, look, every card that you get, it's going to have a random bonus. It's either going to be -1 cost, or it's possibly going to have +2 power. So Mobius even being as a counter during this week, it's really just optional. Because you don't know if they got the +2 power and they're just playing their regular deck. But maybe they had the reduced cost, you don't know. Surfer is going to love this card, Home Gaming, 100%. This is definitely a Surfer card. 1000% over, this is a Surfer card. But the thing that only holds it back, the only thing that holds it back is that it's 3 cost, right? That means that you're getting only 3 draws that have that benefit. So how good of a value is it? We're gonna have to test the card, but I think that there will be very similar to the stat stick decks that do well, right? This will be, in my opinion, a card that wants those single turn plays, right? Your single 4, 5, 6s, just to get some extra bonus and benefit thrown onto it, right? If you happen to draw certain 4, 5s, and 6s. So combinations, for example, like Black Bolt Stature, I could see this being beneficial for. I could see this being possibly even for junk packages. I could see this being beneficial for. Those turn 4, turn 5 combos that want a little bit of extra oomph to them. That's what this looks like to me. I think this will be a very fun card in that aspect. Playing this on top of Wong doesn't feel as good unless if you have magic down, because then you're getting 2 cards that have a bunch of things applied to them, whether it's +4 on the power, -2 on the cost, or half and half of having both -1 cost and +2 power. I think that there's some strength in this. 100%. I think that there is some strength in this. But where it's best deck is the only thing I haven't sat down and figured out long enough yet to say that this is worth it or this is not worth it. I think it's probably like my second to bottom card of the month, only because I don't know what deck yet I would say this is the best deck for this, or this is the best combination for this, right? Is it wanting to be in Zoo just to give everything a chance to be fantastic, you know, which is probably going to be one of its homes, because all the 1 costs turn to 0, or the 1 costs get the power that they need to be competitive. It's one of the two. So maybe that's the direction we go with it. But I think it's going to be a good card. I just can't tell you where yet. So for now, I keep it at the second to bottom. I think Makari is going to be very good. Cersei is the bottom of the pack right now. Athena is probably looking to be one of the top 2 cards of the month, if not the best card. And Gilgamesh at 5/7 is absolutely busted broken. I don't think that this card should release at 5/7. I think it's too strong. I think it should release at 5/5. But knowing Second Dinner, I wouldn't be surprised if this released at 5/8. Wouldn't be surprised if this busts out at 5/8 and it's just like, oh my God, what did we do? Wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. Athena having the Ravonna synergy is just nuts. I think she's probably my favorite card of the month. This will have the best content because it's all meanie, in my opinion. I don't think its transformability is relevant enough for me to say this is worth your keys and tokens. I think Makari, in the decks that she will go into that just want things to happen, single card per turn, here's an extra 3 power randomly, she's going to be very thoroughly enjoyed. Like your Red Skull package deck, like she's gonna be incredibly good in that, for example, because you don't have to do anything. She just goes out. She's just here's 3 power. Merry Christmas. And then Fastos, in my opinion, he's got the highest ceiling versus where he's at right now in my head. He could be very good, but for the bottom up, I'd say Cersei is the bottom of the pack right now, then Fastos, then probably Makari. And it's close between Gilgamesh and Athena, but I'm going to lean towards, for now, because I really don't think they release it like this. I think Gilgamesh is the second best, and I think Athena might be the best card of the month. I think so. If Arishem releases in that season, I'll talk about Arishem too, if it's the June season as well, even though it releases on July 2nd. Arishem is a card. And the Arishem card back too. Okay, so it does release for it, so that's fine. So we'll talk Arishem too, and I'll put him in the rankings. So I apologize for not having that information in my head ready to go. But that's why we do this with chat, because you guys are awesome. So Arishem at a 7/7, right? At the start of the game, max your energy by 1, but then also add in 12 random cards to your deck, right? So first and foremost, every deck that week, run Darkhawk. Just do it, okay? Just put Darkhawk in every single destroy deck, don't care. Run Darkhawk, okay? Just have it in your deck ready and set to go, because a lot of people are going to be experimenting with this card. But the downside of the card is that it's a 12 added random card deck. So your chances for things like combinations are very low. So this style of deck is going to scream wanting either single big card stat decks that you play 1 card per turn, or 2 card maximum combos. That's it. That's what you want. These weird like extra hybrid combos or decks that are reliant on 1 card, for example, like Silver Surfer, right? This is not a Silver Surfer style card because Silver Surfer affects a very specific limited amount of people, right? It's that kind of stuff that you want to stay away from, where it's conditional packaging. But for example, like Black Bolt Stature, to pull 2 cards out of your pull group of 24, that's still doable, and individually they're still okay stats. See what I'm saying? You know, those packages that want only 2 cards, I think that there's something there. People are going to absolutely love that max energy that you can start immediately with 2 energy on. It's like, you know, super flow on first location every game. At the same time, your deck is half as effective and you're playing a half district dex mix in to your current deck. The unpredictability of the deck is its strength. And as we learn to hone it, like we did with the randomness of Agent Coulson, I think that there's strength in the Arishem deck. Loki might actually like this, where Loki is your secondary backup plan. The Loki decks that don't rely on needing to have Loki happen, that's you know, those are decks that have great combos, and I'd be worried about this. You know, in regards to the Thanos combination that so many people are talking about, sorry, just stupid. No. Why would you have a 30 card deck? Why would you have a 30 card deck? There's no reason for that. You draw 5 of them. It's just a bad idea. Even though you're getting stones and it might give you extra random draws, like, it doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't think Thanos Arishem, put me on record on it, I think Thanos Arishem is a bad idea. I don't see this being successful in any way, shape, or form. I think Arishem Loki ends up being very successful. I think 2 card combinations at most end up being very successful in this deck. But y'all, he's still better than Cersei. He's still better than Cersei. So I'm going to put Cersei at the very bottom. Then I'm going to put Arishem. Then I'm going to put Phastos. Then I'm going to put Makari. Then I'm going to put Gilgamesh. And then I'm going to put Thena. I think Thena is the best card of the month. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you like the idea? Do you hate the idea? What do you think? Let me know. Down below in the comments. Because, you know, it's a YouTube video. It's what we need. Appreciate y'all.